What's up, basketball fans? Harrison Graham, Jimmy Crowther with you on today's edition of NBA Now. The much-anticipated return. The people have been asking for it, Jimmy, and we are back and better than ever as we've got a lot of stuff to get into, including all the new stuff regarding Kevin Durant. He is speaking out. Lots of stuff going on the Brooklyn Nets new star, Jimmy. Tell the folks what's happening here.
Yeah, he kind of just did this tell-all interview, and he just let everything out of the bag. And, it was a good moment for NBA fans, good for Kevin Durant probably to kind of get a chance to say what he has to say about this whole situation because it was messy. Let's be honest. One of the main things that I found interesting was that he did tell everybody that he's only going to the Nets if he was going to leave Golden State, and the reason is because he got so close with Kyrie Irving. He said, I think the friendship part of the league has really grown, especially since LeBron James and Dwayne Wade became such great friends and ended up playing together. That's why he chose to go to Brooklyn, because he knew his buddy Kyrie was going.
Yeah, and I think he's right when he talks about LeBron and D. Wade. They really changed the NBA forever when they chose to make that decision and play together. And that was not the only thing he talked about. He also talked about the kind of public perception of the beef with Draymond Green from last year. Obviously, throw the quote up on the screen there. He said, hell yeah, I'm tired of talking about that shit. Look, we're grown men. We understand what this is. We're playing basketball for a living. It's a business. Everybody congratulated me when I went to the Nets. Everybody wished me well, and they know that I'm still a phone call away. So look, they had the blow up last year. When you have that many alpha males on one team, Jimmy, that's bound to happen a time or two. But it's all water under the bridge now, as Kevin Durant is, of course, in Brooklyn now.
Yeah, and I think it's going to work out well for him now. He's going to go to Brooklyn. Obviously, he's going to probably take a year off to rehab that Achilles injury. And one thing that was interesting about the interview is that he would neither confirm nor deny whether or not he'd miss the season, but I would expect him to miss the whole year with that blown out Achilles. He also doesn't blame the Warriors for that injury. I think that's really cool because really he shouldn't. I mean, nobody should receive all the blame for an injury like that.
Last quote here from KD that's worth sharing here on the Raptors fans cheering when he got hurt. Quote, it will probably be the last time they will be in the finals. Might be true with Kawhi Leonard moving on to the Los Angeles Clippers.
I mean, for the foreseeable future, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, KD probably getting the last laugh there. So that's the latest on Kevin Durant. Let's move forward here to the Rich Paul rule proposal that's going on. What's going on with the NCAA and the Rich Paul rule here, Jimmy?
Look, I'm just going to detail this out for everybody. First of all, this is coming from the NCAA, which has already kind of had its ridiculous share of problems, and now they add this rule onto college players hiring agents for the players that want to test the waters of the NBA draft. So this isn't players that are like all dead set in. They're just going to test the waters.
Yep.
So here's the criteria. They have to be certified with the NBAPA for at least 3 years. That's not that ridiculous. Most agents kind of are already there. They must take an in-person exam at the NCAA office. Obviously, they have to pass that exam, go to Indianapolis, get that whole thing done. But then the ridiculous part comes in at the end, and this is where people are kind of up in arms about it. That agents must have a bachelor's degree to represent a collegiate basketball player if they want to test the waters. And the reason everyone is getting so up in arms about this is because, this is why they're calling it the Rich Paul rule, because Rich Paul, one of the most successful NBA agents right now, doesn't have a bachelor's degree. He graduated from high school in Cleveland. That's where he became friends with LeBron James and got, made his fame there as his agent.
And guess what? He's probably the most successful agent throughout the NBA, if not in all of sports. So the ridiculousness of this rule is that, hey, guess what? You don't have to necessarily go to college and get a college degree to be successful in certain aspects in life. And I think Rich Paul is a good example of that. So this
Absolutely.
is certainly the latest and greatest, I put greatest in air quotes because it's not great at all, ideas from the NCAA.
Yeah, I'm not happy with this one. I don't think a lot of people should be. Let's also talk about the fact that Rich Paul not only just represents LeBron James, he created an entire agency and got these guys, and these are just the top 5. I mean, there are, I think he has close to 50 clients in the NBA right now. These are the top 5 paid. Ironically, it's not LeBron, it's John Wall, who's not even going to play next year, and then Anthony Davis, Tristan Thompson, Draymond Green. All those guys represented by a guy who, by the NCAA standards, can't be an NBA agent.
Yeah, and we all know about the NBA is a relationships league. It's a players and an agents league. That's what it is. And so it's not necessarily like who's the most on paper qualified.
Right.
It's who develops the best relationships. Rich Paul is the perfect example of that. You see the client list right there. And Chris Paul spoke out on this as well and saying, quote, that he tweeted this actually, "I completely disagree with the NCAA's decision. Some life experiences are as valuable, if not more, than diplomas. Y'all need to rethink the process. This is crazy." And I agree. Look, I have a college degree. You're going to have a college degree pretty soon.
Hopefully don't jinx it.
Yeah, well, Jimmy might fail, which means he won't be back at Chat Sports, but because we require degrees here. But at the end of the day, like, yes, the degree is extremely valuable, but you don't necessarily need it to be successful in life, and certainly Rich Paul is a good example of that. So we'll ask you guys. Jimmy and I clearly don't like the rule. How much do you guys hate the rule? Scale of 1 to 10. If you put 10, that means you think it's the dumbest rule of all time. If you put 1, I guess you like it.
I guess you like the rule, and I don't think we're going to see a lot of ones flow in here. I would lean, 9 or 10, simply because it probably wouldn't be that high if the NCAA wasn't already so ridiculous about so many different things. But because they are, I'm not a big fan.
Get some shout-outs here. We see Chris Jones with 11, Ricky 10, DJ 10, the Broonmaker 10, Tyler 10. Lowest one I've seen is 8.
Yeah,
so
they're all around that 8 to 10 range.
Yeah, the vast majority think it is a very, very stupid rule. Shout out NCAA for their latest and greatest genius. Moving on here to mental health discussion. Royce White, if you don't remember, was a 2012 first-round pick of the Rockets. Had some mental health issues, was scared to fly on planes. I remember this being a big deal because coming out of Iowa State, I was like, man, this guy's going to be a real deal. He's like a point forward type, and just had some, was not able to, figure things out. And he's been an advocate for the NBA to expand on their mental health policies.
Yeah, here's something that the NCAA could pull from the NBA and say, hey, this is a good thing they're doing. The NBA is kind of doubling down, saying, hey, here's what we need to do. We got to take care of our players' mental health. This is something the NFL has had a huge problem with, and they're not doing anything about it. The NBA is the first real league to kind of stand up and say, we care about our guys off the court when they get off. Like, we want them to be, successful and not have to deal with this stuff. We're going to help take care of them. And these are some of the guys that have advocated for this whole mental health awareness sort of thing in the NBA.
Yep.
Royce White was the first one, like you said, that comes to mind. Kevin Love has dealt with some stuff, same with DeMar DeRozan. And then Kenyon Dooling, another retired player.
Yeah, and Love and DeRozan, they've had a lot of back and forth on social media, support in the past, being like, hey, man, I've been there, like, appreciate what you're doing, keep spreading the word. So I think it's all positive energy. Obviously, the NBA needs to continue to take these next steps.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing they're doing, that is a set in stone, here's something tangible we can do, is they're requiring every team to have a mental health specialist.
Yes.
So you got someone you can talk to, you got someone that if you need to deal with stuff, he's there for you. So I like that a lot.
Very cool what the NBA is doing. Very cool what we're doing here at Chat Sports. Do you guys love the NBA? Obviously you do. A bunch of you guys are watching right now. Make sure you're subscribed. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Get us to 150K. Look, the NBA season is what? 2 months away or so? Preseason? We want to get to 150K before then. So help us get there. We're skipping right past 140K. Get us to 150,000 subscribers so we can continue to making these NBA videos, continue to go live, do all of those things for you guys. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. LeBron James starting a minicamp?
Yeah, look, he's getting this going for his team, which is just super cool. He's taking on the leadership responsibility that everybody expects him to this next year, getting all the new young players together, and really, I guess, the ones that are left over from last season, said, hey, let's go get some extra work in Las Vegas, and they're going to go out, fly out there. They're all going to get some work started before training camp and before the preseason starts.
I like that little incentive, too. Like, hey, we'll be in Vegas. So at night, you guys can go out, have fun, have a good time. So very good idea here from LeBron James. Obviously, a lot of new faces on this Lakers team. When you look at this roster, Anthony Davis is obviously working his way into the fold. Danny Green, lots of bench guys. You got DeMarcus Cousins, Avery Bradley, Quinn Cook, some other guy. Troy Daniels is a new player. Jared Dudley. So they've got a lot of new faces and players to not only figure out how to get things going on the court, but just that team chemistry aspect. I think that was very notable with the Raptors run last year. You could tell they liked playing together, Jimmy, and that they got along very well. well. And like on the opposite end, Golden State's end, you almost felt like that chemistry was starting to fade this last year. I mean, we already talked about the KD and Draymond stuff earlier in the show. So, look, you got these new players. I think this is a good idea from LeBron. Like, he's had a long summer, didn't make the postseason, so it's time to kind of get the juices flowing again, gear up for the new season. I think this is a very good idea.
He's getting antsy to get back on the court and play a little bit with Anthony Davis. Also, you know, when we talk about the Warriors having chemistry issues, the Lakers, I mean, they traded half their team.
Yeah.
So it's a brand new team. You got to get that chemistry rolling early, and I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. So I have a question for you guys. Would y'all watch LeBron's minicamp if it was broadcast? Type Y for yes, type N for no. We'll get some shout-outs going here in the chat in just a moment. Jimmy, would you watch? I feel like you might be in that few percent of people who would watch. It's like, it'd be a Saturday night during college football season. No, I'm watching LeBron minicamp instead. I don't need to watch Michigan Notre Dame. I got LeBron's minicamp going.
Look, I am craving any taste of NBA content I can get. And if it's LeBron's minicamp, if that's the NBA players I get to watch, I'm gonna do it.
It's kind of like the All-Star draft. They need to televise that so we can watch
anything.
that.
Just give me more.
Yeah, more NBA content. Pretty split. I think there's more Ys than Ns though. We got Mike with the Y. We got we got Dwayne saying yes. Plenty of Ys flying into the chat there. So keep those comments flowing. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. And while you're at it, make sure you sign up with MyBookie. It's our sports betting partner. Guys, we have a great deal going on right now. You sign up, you deposit, you place that first bet, use that promo code CHATNBA. Guess what? If you do that, you're going to get NBA 2K20 for free. Ooh. I love playing NBA 2K20. Anthony Davis is on the cover this year. You're not going to want to miss out on this. You get that 100% deposit bonus. You put down $100, they're going to give you $100 for free, and you email us at promo@chatsports.com, promo@chatsports.com, and we'll hook you up with NBA 2K20. It's a pretty good deal.
It's a darn good deal. I am excited to play some 2K for sure.
Chatsports.com/NBA now. Use that promo code CHATNBA. Make yourself some money. Get 2K when it comes out on September 6th. How bad was the Hornets' offer for Kemba? We knew they lowballed him when he decided to sign with the Celtics on June 30th. I don't think we realized just how low the offer was.
No, I mean, look, less than $160 million. I mean,
over 5 years.
That's bad, especially when you're eligible for $220 million. You know,
it's only a $60 million difference.
I mean, if you gave me a $160 million contract, I wouldn't whine or complain. But if I were eligible for the $220, I probably would a little bit. So yeah, they definitely lowballed him, and it's just unfortunate to see. You know, we were talking about it off air. It would have just been better for the Hornets not to offer anything at all. Like, just say, hey, man, let's just go our separate ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost basically what they did, right? Yeah. They're like, look, like, if you really want to stay, here's 5 years, $155 million or whatever the case may be. But we're going into rebuild mode. This hasn't worked out. It's probably better if you go elsewhere. Obviously, Boston ends up getting him. This is the kind of player they're getting. We know what he brings to the table. I'm excited to watch him in Boston. But looking at the Hornets roster, the Hornets lineup, it's clear they're in rebuild mode. I mean, look at this thing. Terry Rozier, who they completely overpaid, which is ironic because they didn't want to pay Kemba Walker. Right. But you look at the rest of this team. Malik Monk, young player who has a lot to prove. Nick Batum, overpaid wing. Cody Zeller, P.J. Washington. Like, I think if you're the Hornets, you're building around Rozier and Washington, hoping those two develop into better players. Kemba Walker was not going to make this roster a legitimate contender.
No, not at all, but I think he does make the Celtics a legitimate Eastern Conference Finals contender. You got Kemba, Tatum, Gordon Hayward, Jaylen Brown. I mean, that's four high-quality starting wings, starting point guards in that lineup for Boston, and then I like the addition of Enes Kanter. They have a top 10 bench in the league for this next year, I believe, especially with how young they are and how much they have to prove. I think Kemba on this Boston team is better for them than Kyrie Irving simply because he doesn't bring the drama that Kyrie does. I'm not saying he's a better player, but for the fit, I think it makes a lot of sense. I like the idea for Kemba to go to Boston and build something special.
Yeah, so we have a question for you guys. Did the Hornets make the right call by lowballing Kemba Walker? We already discussed it. You know, they're in rebuild mode. Was it the right call by the Charlotte Hornets? Type R for the right call, type W for the wrong call. I think it was maybe actually this number getting leaked isn't a good look, but
it's terrible.
It makes sense for the future of that franchise to not pay big on Kemba Walker. He's only made the playoffs twice in his 8 or 9 years there. Like, it was time for each side to move on.
No, I agree. I don't, again, like you said, I don't like that it got leaked. It's not a good look for the Hornets or Michael Jordan, but you had to go your separate ways and start getting into tank mode.
Absolutely. Ben Simmons, he was hanging out in Australia, went to a casino, and there's some conflicting reports on just what happened at this Australian casino, Jimmy.
Yeah, so he put up an Instagram video. It was him and 3 other friends. And apparently one of the friends who was white got let into the casino. This is all according to Ben Simmons' Instagram. And then Simmons and his 2 other friends that were black did not get let into the casino. And that was the big issue there. And this is directly from Ben Simmons on his Twitter. He says, as you know, an incident happened last night at Crown, that's the casino, and my friends and I felt personally singled out. No one likes to feel like this. I'm very passionate about equality, and I always speak up, even if it means having uncomfortable conversations. And then this is where things got interesting.
The casino released a statement saying, quote, Crown strenuously rejects the reports that it discriminated against a group of visitors last night. The group subsequently provided identification and were permitted entry. Crown is an inclusive workplace. Don't want to say exclusive there. Nope. Inclusive workplace. So that's a part of the conflicting report too, is he's saying they basically had to leave. They're saying, no, we have a policy. If you look under the age of 25, we want to make sure we're not letting underage people into our casino. They ID'd them. Eventually, they let them in. So there seems to be a bit of a discrepancy here in this story.
Yeah, I don't think it's the end of the story by any means. We'll see what comes out about it. But now, I had a fun weigh-in I wanted to throw in for you guys. What is the most money you have ever won at a casino? Harrison?
I've never gambled at a legitimate casino.
Oh, really?
Like, I've played, we'll have poker night or whatever with my buddies,
sure.
But I've wanted to go up to to getting booed out in left field from the boys out in the back. But I've wanted to go up to WinStar. We're based here in Dallas, so that's a couple hours away. But yeah. I've never actually gambled at a casino. I know you went to Vegas recently.
I did. Made $250. Walked away with a nice little chunk of change. Proud.
Lunch on you tomorrow?
Little humble brag there. It's already all gone. Sorry, Harrison.
But keep those comments flowing. Let us know how much money you've ever won at a casino. All right, guys, make sure you use that hashtag Mellow to get your questions on the show. That's so producer Dylan can filter those questions better for you guys. We're going to do it. We're actually going to do it. A Carmelo Anthony Q&A. The people have been asking about it. All the questions seem to be around Melo these days. Free agency's kind of slowed down. The Lakers have a roster spot left.
Oh, don't say it.
Could he go to LA and be a member of the Lakers? So use hashtag Mellow to get your question on the show so Dylan can help filter out those questions a lot easier. We'll start right here, though, with Coach Dreadhead. Can Melo make a return to Denver and retire there? That's an interesting idea, Jimmy.
It sure is. You know what? If I had to see Melo go somewhere, because everybody knows hater Jimmy, Jimmy hates Carmelo, whatever. Anyway, if he had to go somewhere, if I had to watch him play next year, I would actually be excited to watch him go back to Denver, put that Nuggets jersey back on. That
would be interesting. It wasn't the smoothest exit. It's kind of like the Vince Carter idea. When he left Toronto, it wasn't the greatest exit, but I could see it being a fun ending there. And plus, if Michael Porter Jr. isn't quite ready, maybe he could have a bench role there, can offer some points off the bench. So I like that question from Coach Dreadhead. 12:22 p.m., again, use hashtag Melo. Will Melo fit on the Pelicans? I don't think so. They've got their veteran scorer in J.J. Redick. I think there's a clear youth movement going on there. And I know we just talked about Denver making a little bit of sense. They're a little further along in the process. That's a bit different. I think you focus on these young guys in New Orleans.
And Melo, at this point in his career, even though he doesn't really have one right now, he's more of a 4. I mean, he's going to play the power forward position, and the Pelicans don't really need that right now. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I can see, hey, maybe we need some more scoring off the bench, but like Harrison said, you've got that in Redick.
Yeah, so I don't think that is a great fit in New Orleans. Should the Warriors sign Carmelo Anthony? This one from Epic Gamer 4322. This one's been thrown out there a couple of times. The Warriors are a very ball movement, team chemistry type of team. And I know they're probably going to run more pick and roll now that D'Angelo Russell is in the mix there. But I don't love that fit there. If it's any team on the West Coast, I still think it's going to be the Lakers.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Look, at first I was kind of against this idea of Melo going to the Warriors. And then I looked at their depth and I was like, timeout. They're starting small forward while KLAY is out as like Alfonso McKinney. So,
that's true.
maybe, just maybe, it might make some sense. But I agree with Harrison there. I think I lean more toward the Lakers.
Yeah, I don't think that will happen in Golden State. Tyler Burbeck, Melo to the Mavs. Jimmy, I'll leave this one to you.
Nope, I do not want I and Mavs fans around the world probably do not want Carmelo Anthony around Luka Doncic or Kristaps Porzingis. I know Porzingis and Melo probably had an okay relationship in New York, but no thanks.
Type H in the chat if you think Jimmy's being a hater. Melo to the Mavs. I kind of agree with him, though. I don't think it. They're kind of like the Pelicans. They've got a youth movement going on there. Dre M54, use hashtag Melo. Dwight Howard or Melo, who will get signed first? It's got to be Dwight, right?
Well, here's the thing. Dwight Howard hasn't officially been bought out by the Grizzlies.
Technically, he is still in Memphis, but we expect him to get bought out at some point.
He's either going to get bought out. They want to try to trade him. The same thing they're doing with Iguodala, which, how about that? The Grizzlies have Iguodala and Dwight Howard. Imagine if that was 5 years ago. Now the Grizzlies would be monstrous. But if Dwight Howard receives a buyout, I'd expect him to get picked up before Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, I think so. I think he would already be on a team if he was available. But Grizzlies hanging on to him. I understand why. I think Iggy, they might be able to trade, but I don't see them being able to trade Dwight Howard. So we will say Dwight Howard over Melo. All right, guys. Comment the first word that comes to mind.
I want to get
the first word.
It
could be anything. Don't cuss. YouTube will kick you out.
Oh, they're going to. We got some dirty watchers.
Keep it appropriate, but type the first word that comes to mind, and we will read some of them out in the chat.
Mine was monkey. Monkey just popped into my head.
Mellow.
Zaza.
Zaza.
Of course.
Word.
Hater.
We got Taco. Jimmy.
The Jewish man, you cannot cuss. It's gonna block you. That's why your chat's not showing up.
Yeah, we want you back in the chat, so keep it appropriate.
Scalabrine,
nice.
I have his jersey. Fun fact.
Okay, that is the worst jersey to have. Brian Scalabrine.
Andres Biedrins.
Kings, Taco, Lonzo, Devontae. This is like the first name that came.
Yeah,
to
they're
mind.
thinking of
Guys,
NBA names.
First word. It could be any word.
Someone said buns. That's a word. It's a word, right?
Yeet. Is that a word? Has Webster's approved that? So keep those coming in, and we'll get back into the Q&A here. Sports news, wrestling, and highlights. I like that name.
Yeah, fun channel. I'm going to check it out.
Hashtag Melo to the Lakers. Yeah, I don't know, like, fit-wise, if it really makes the most sense, but we know him and LeBron are boys. Him and Anthony Davis have a decent relationship. I think it could make a little bit of sense if you bring him off the bench. I think they have enough shooting now in that bench unit where if you were to bring him in, I don't think it's the worst idea.
I do think it's the most likely, but I don't like it because you've got Avery Bradley, who's already a veteran. You got to get him back on track. JaVale McGee, DeMarcus Cousins, Rondo. That's like 4 veteran guys that you're trying to already say like, hey, we need you to get back into the groove. You don't need a 5th one in Melo to try to do that. So I'm out, but I think it'll happen.
The Brennanator, how about heading back to the Knicks? I saw this one floated out there too. This actually makes even more sense because the Knicks aren't really contending. That's going to put people in the seats in Madison Square Garden. Look, there is a big chunk of Knicks fans that love Melo. No matter what he's done, no matter what he will do, they're always going to be loyal and love Carmelo Anthony. And for decent reason. Look, he wanted to be in New York. He never really wanted to leave New York. It's just circumstances happened, and which led him getting traded to OKC. But I wouldn't hate this idea.
I don't hate the idea. Again, we talked about it already. He's kind of more the stretch 4 nowadays.
Yeah.
And they signed every power forward available on the market. But if he's like, hey, I want to play the 3, I'm sure the Knicks would have no problem maybe putting him there.
Quick teaser for you guys. We're going to do our top 10 small forwards in the NBA. Melo did not make the list.
No, he did not.
Unfortunately, it's not 2012. Mike Oxmal, how many points would he average today off the bench? It depends on what team. If he's on a non-contender, he could probably still score 13 to 15 points off the bench. If he's on a contender, 8, 10 points?
I'd say 6 to 8.
Yeah, 6 to 8, hopefully on mid-40s percentage. I mean, you'd hope 42, 43%.
Hey, you hope he's not going out there and just shooting everything he touches.
Yeah, he's building a lot of houses with those bricks he's been putting up the last couple of years.
Yeah.
All right, Z, hashtag Melo. Is Melo a top 10 scorer of all time? I don't think he's not in the top 10.
Well, when it comes to literal, I don't think he's top 10.
I think peak Melo is a top 15 isolation offensive player. Look, for about 5 to 7 years, he was an incredible ISO guy. Good mid-range game, fadeaway, could get to the basket. Wasn't a great three-point shooter, but he was always great at getting separation and getting that look. Look, he's one of the better isolation scorers in NBA history.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think that's overstating. I mean, that's not factoring the lack of defense and the lack of
This is purely scoring.
Yeah, I'm talking about just purely as an offensive scorer. Yeah. He's one of the better ISO scorers of all time. So I don't think that's too much of a stretch there, Z.
No, I agree.
All right, guys, get us to 150,000 subscribers. We know you guys love the NBA. We got a bunch of you guys watching. We crossed 130K a few weeks back. We're trying to get to 150K before the season gets here in October. We're approaching 132K. We want to zoom right past 140K. Get us to 150K. Hit that red subscribe button, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Jimmy's going to continue to plug out videos. Tom, me, we're going to keep these NBA videos going. We know you guys like the content. Help us out. Subscribe, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Let's go back to the Brennanator. Do you think if Melo goes to the Spurs, Popovich can coach him to be a smarter player?
I don't think there's any coach. I mean, I love Greg Popovich is arguably the best coach of all time, but there is no coach that could take Melo and just make him, quote, a smarter player. The only thing that's going to make Melo a smarter player is if he just accepts whatever role he's given. But let's go back to the original question. If Melo could go to the Spurs, or if he did go to the Spurs, he ain't going to the Spurs.
First of all, that's never happening. The Spurs are not bringing on Carmelo Anthony. And two, he is who he is at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's a guy that maybe you can bring him off your bench and he can score a little bit for you. Like, that's what he's offering to you. He's not a great three-point shooter. He's not going to defend. He's not very efficient. But when he gets going, he's a decent scorer off somebody's bench. That's what you're looking for if you bring in You're hoping for if you bring in Carmelo Anthony. Here's an idea from JAYSON. Melo to China.
I think he's been watching a lot of my videos here because I have advocated for Carmelo Anthony to the Beijing Ducks.
Amari Stoudemire made a bunch of money last year heading over there, and now he's getting tryouts for the NBA.
Amari
so
did it, and Stephon Marbury.
He's a legend.
Marbury is getting. He has a statue in China from how good he was over there playing basketball. So if Melo just wants the fame and the fortune and you know all the recognition, you go to China. You dominate over
and
there.
real talk, he would make more money in China than here because he's getting the minimum here.
There's like a guaranteed $3.5 million for like NBA players in China right now.
What did what's his name get? Mirotic, he got $70 million overseas.
Oh yeah,
I know that wasn't in China,
it was in
but
Spain.
Basketball is growing in China in a major way. So I actually do not think this is a bad idea at all. Look, I never liked using Melo in NBA 2K because he's not a good three-point shooter. The way I play, you got to be able to shoot the three. That's why the Warriors are the most fun team to use because they can all shoot. But you guys want 2K20? Sign up with our sports partner, MyBookie. You sign up, you deposit, you place that first bet, use that promo code ChatNBA. You put $100 down, they're going to give you $100 for free. And then here's the key. Email us, promo@chatsports.com. We'll hook you up with NBA 2K20. You got to place that first bet, though. So you can't just sign up and deposit and get the game. No, you got to place that bet, then you email us. Then we hook you up with 2K when it comes out on September 6th.
Yeah, sign me up. Sign up with MyBookie right now. Go get it done.
Back to a few more Q&As here before we get to that small forward list. The Brennanator, if he went to China, what would his stats be like?
Jimmer Fredette put up like 50 a game.
He would score a bunch. He wouldn't be efficient, but he'd probably score like 35 a game.
I'd say 35 points and like 10 boards and maybe half an assist over in China. I think that's Melo in China.
I think that is probably fair to stay. Here's another one from Jai to U.S. national team. Okay, we joked around in the office the other day. Everybody is backing out of playing for the U.S. National team. Landry Shamet just had to pull out because of an injury. By the way, did you see him just dunk on Bill Simmons on Twitter? Because Bill Simmons was like, there's just no way Landry Shamet's backing out. Like, it's one thing when the top guys are, but Landry Shamet. But then he said, hey, dude, I got an injury. Back off. So get dunked on Bill Simmons. But anyway, look, I think this would be kind of fun. Like, he's the last guy on the bench, right? He can be a mentor for some of the young guys. And look, he's going to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame but largely due to his contributions to the U.S. national team.
Yeah, look, I don't think he's going to make it to the U.S. national team, but you know where he could make it? The Hall of Fame. Sports News, Wrestling, and Highlights says, will Carmelo Anthony make the Hall of Fame? And since it's not the NBA Hall of Fame, since it's just, hey, this is Basketball Hall of Fame, yes, Carmelo Anthony should absolutely be there. I mean, he was incredible on the national team, incredible in college. I mean, over his career, he was great. It's just, you know, these last 3 to 4 years just fizzled out.
Look, say what you want about him. For about 10 years, he was a top 10 scorer in this league, at times a top 5 scorer. Like, that's just the bottom line. Like, he's one of those guys, do you want to build a championship roster around him? Probably not, but in his heyday, one of the best scorers in the NBA. He is absolutely a Basketball Hall of Famer. But we'll ask you guys, do you think he's a Hall of Famer? Type Y for yes, type N for no. We both think he's Hall of Famers. Like, again, elite scorer in his prime, which lasted for about 10 years. Yeah, he could have given more effort on the defensive end, but it's not like the Pro Football Hall of Fame or especially Baseball Hall of Fame, where the credentials to get in are much tougher.
Yeah.
Basketball Hall of Fame, far lesser players than Carmelo Anthony have gotten in. He is certainly worthy of getting into the Hall of Fame. All right, folks, I'm Harrison Graham. He is Jimmy Crowther. Thanks for joining us here on Chat Sports NBA Now. You're going through some lists. You've done point guards.
Yep.
Shooting guards is going out soon. How about small forwards? Top 10 small forwards in the NBA. A lot to choose from. Probably the deepest position group in the NBA. Look, there's some good players that didn't even make the cut on your list, Jimmy.
Yeah, look, these are the guys that didn't make the cut. And you see Kevin Durant is the first name because let's just get this out of the way. This is my projected top 10 small forwards for next season. And you can't count Kevin Durant when the dude's not going to play next season, okay? Eventually, yes, he'll be back in this discussion, but he's not right now.
Yep.
Another guy who missed the cut, Andrew Wiggins, because we haven't seen the consistency out of him or the defensive side. Karis LeVert, maybe he gets in through the end of the season, but I got to see him bounce back 100% from that injury. Otto Porter Jr., he's fine. And then Andre Iguodala, and I have him just missing the cut because, I mean, last year, defensively, he's easily top 10, but now, I don't know what his future looks like in the NBA.
And side note, the reason we got Karis LeVert, he's listed as a guard there, but he's going to play primarily small forward for the Nets, so that is the clarification right there. Same thing with Iggy. He plays some guard, some forward, but he will probably play small forward wherever he lands. Ask you guys this before we get to the list. Will Kevin Durant be a top 5 player in the NBA when he returns? Obviously, he's top 3 before the Achilles tear.
Yeah.
Him, LeBron, and Kawhi, I think, are the consensus top 3. Maybe Steph Curry and Harden round out your top 5, and Giannis. That's your top 6.
Yeah.
I think that's your clear top 6. Will he be top 5 when he returns? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I think you'd have to lean no because you just don't. There's too much uncertainty. There's so much talent in the NBA right now.
I lean no because there's so many of these young guys up and coming, and Durant's he's missing a whole year.
The no's are dominating the chat, Jimmy. It's probably 70% no, 30% yes.
And it's just outside the top 5. It's not like he's down at number 20, but he's not going to be top 5. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we have to see him prove it first when he does come back. But let's get into it here. Number 10, you've got the Pelicans' new small forward, Brandon Ingram. Take it away.
Yeah, look, this was a tough one for me to rank because when it comes to upside, Brandon Ingram is close to the top when it comes to these small forwards and upside. He's got so much room to grow. He can do so much. He should be able to do so much eventually. He's got the perfect length and body. But he's got to add the weight, and he hasn't been able to stay healthy, and those health concerns are a huge scare for me. I don't know exactly what his role is going to look like in New Orleans either. It's going to be a huge question mark. So I've got him at number 10 for now.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair spot to have him because, look, before he got hurt at the end of last year, we were starting to see the flashes. I think he had about a 20 or 30 game stretch where he was averaging over 20 points per game. We're like, man, Ingram's really coming on. Then he had the injury. Obviously, the blood clot thing popped up. I think that thing, for the most part, is okay.
I hope so.
You look at this Pelicans roster, at starting 5, all 5 of those guys are going to be factors, and they got bench players who can score too. So it's just hard to say, like you said, exactly what his role in New Orleans will be. I think coming in at number 10 makes some sense there.
Yeah, and again, upside, he's got all of it in the world, but he hasn't met it yet, so I'm not comfortable putting him any higher than number 10 on this list.
All right, guys, type S if you're already subscribed. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't, but type S if you are subscribed. Get some shout-outs going in the chat right now. We know a lot of you guys are subscribed. We know some of you that watch aren't subscribed, and if you don't, just hit that red button.
Big red button. Just hit it.
It'll help you out. It'll let you know when we are going live. We've got a bunch flying in. You want to read some of those off?
Ryan, Bonnie, Mr. Cool, Don't Test the Water, Dutch Jones, Dwayne Curry. Y'all are all subscribed. Thank you. If you haven't yet, hit the button. That's the same color as Harrison's shirt, and you'll be subscribed to all of our shows. And,
we got Paul, we got Andrew, plenty of guys subscribed. Tell a friend too. Tell them to subscribe to Chat Sports. Be like, guys, they do the dopest NBA content. Subscribe to Chat Sports, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. We certainly appreciate it. Number 9, Harrison Barnes. Big fan of his work.
Okay, look, I am a Harrison Barnes lover. I love the guy. I kind of always have ever since he went to the Mavs after leaving Golden State.
Great name, of course.
Yes. Okay name, I guess. Okay first name there. But look, he's a consistent veteran, and he's proven that he can be a reliable scorer. I know everybody remembers that last game in Golden State as a member of the Golden State Warriors when he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, and that's what they think about him as. But that's not what he is anymore. He's a consistent mid-range scorer. He's become a really good three-point shooter. But the question I've always had with Barnes since leaving Golden State, going to Dallas, is can he play off the ball effectively?
Yeah.
He has to be able to do that in Sacramento when you have guys like De'Aaron Fox, Bogdanovich, and Buddy Hield.
The problem with Barnes is he's not a great catch-and-shoot guy.
Yeah.
And the Kings are a team that wants to be a fast-paced ball movement type of team. You've got Buddy Hield. You got De'Aaron Fox. You know, Fox is one of the faster point guards in the league. You want to be able to spot up in the corner and knock down a three. That's not really Barnes' game. You think about his couple of years in Dallas, he really helped stabilize that team in the sense that he was kind of the go-to guy and the offense flowed through him. That's why once they got Luka, it didn't really make sense to keep him anymore because he wasn't nearly as effective. That's kind of the next step for him. Can he be a guy that doesn't have to have the ball in his hands to be an effective scorer?
And he's a great defender. Like, Harrison Barnes is a really good defender. Biggest downside I have with him, outside of not being able to play with the ball in his hands super well, he's not a great rebounder for a forward.
Yeah.
But overall, I think this is a pretty good spot for Harrison Barnes.
Yes, we got Harrison Barnes at number 9. There's definitely not 9 games better than NBA 2K. It's got to be the best sports game out there, right? You guys want a copy? Sign up with our sports partner, MyBookie. You sign up, you deposit, you place that first bet, put down $100. They're going to give you $100 for free, $50. They're going to give you $50 for free. That's what 100% means. Chatsports.com/NBA now. Use that promo code ChatNBA. After you place that first bet, be sure to email us at promo@chatsports.com. Hook you up with a new copy of NBA 2K20. I think the Sacramento Kings might be a fun team to use this year.
Yeah, play up and down pace with De'Aaron Fox. Give the ball to Marvin Bagley. I'm all about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, ChatNBA is that promo code. You sign up today with MyBookie. Let's keep this list going. Joe Ingles coming in at number 8. Certainly not flashy, but very effective for the Utah Jazz.
Not flashy at all. In fact, I think there's a lot of casual NBA fans that would be like, why in the world is Joe Ingles number 8? Well, he's great on the defensive side of the ball. He's a great three-point shooter. That's all you need him to do, and he just embraces his role so well for this Utah Jazz team. I'm super excited to see this team next year with Conley and Mitchell, their new backcourt. The two forwards, we list Bogdanovich as a power forward. That's why you won't see him on this list.
Stretch 4 there.
Exactly, and Ingles is your defensive 3 that can knock down a three-pointer. I'm excited for this Jazz team, and Joe Ingles is the perfect complementary player.
You're excited about the Jazz. I'm excited about the Bucks, although I think you are too. You got them
Always.
winning the finals next year. Chris Middleton getting that big deal this offseason. He comes in number 7 on your list.
Yeah, look, he played more shooting guard last season, but now you need him to slide into that small forward position so Giannis can play the 4. Again, this is why you won't see Giannis on this list because he's going to be a power forward next year. But look, Chris Middleton was an all-star, and I think this jump from 8 to 7 is a pretty sizable gap because Middleton, 18 points per game, 6 boards. He showed that he can pass it pretty well, and three-point shooting is what he does. That and defense, that's all you need from him.
His next step is being that reliable second guy because I've always said the last couple of years, I think Chris Middleton would be a great third option for a contending team, but in Milwaukee, he needs to be that second guy, that sidekick to Giannis. If they're going to win a championship, he needs to be that guy come playoff time. Speaking of that, where do you guys think the Bucks will finish in the Eastern Conference next season? I certainly think they're the team to beat out East.
Yep, I've got them going number 1. I've got them the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. Maybe just the number 1 team in the NBA next year.
Ooh, interesting. So keep those comments flowing in. Got first, we got second, got a lot of 2s. 5th, wow. First seed. Name 4 teams better than the Bucks in the East next year. Don't worry, I will wait. Let's get to number 6. Jason Tatum. Boston Celtics looking to contend in the East as well. You got Tatum at number 6.
Yeah, and look, when you look at purely based on last year, that's not what this list is. This list is who's going to be the best small forwards next season. Jason Tatum is going to be near the top of that list. That's why he's number 6 right now. Now, between his rookie year and his sophomore season, the jump wasn't as big as people wanted. You know, he went from 14 to 16 points, 5 boards to 6 boards. The assist numbers didn't really move. And then the efficiency took a dip.
Yep.
Because he got asked to do more, and he didn't really, contribute as much as they would have liked. But now, no more drama in Boston. You just let Jason Tatum be a go-to guy.
Yeah, Kyrie's out of there. We saw a couple of years ago those young guys were much more effective when he was not in the mix, so I think that he certainly will flourish in the 2019-2020 season. Top 5, Tobias Harris, Philadelphia.
Huge fan of Tobias Harris, a great scorer. You give him the ball, he's going to find a way to put the ball in the basket. And now he is officially the 3rd option in Philadelphia. You get Jimmy Butler, gone. So now it's Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, and Ben Simmons as your main big 3 options. I like Tobias. Now he doesn't have to play that power forward role because Al Horford is there. He slides in immediately to the small forward role. Question mark I have for him next year is, can he effectively defend other small forwards, because he's been defending power forwards for so long now in Philly.
Yeah, and it could be one of those deals where I think Philadelphia is going to mix and match lineups. I actually think offensively he's best suited as a stretch four, but with Al Horford there now, he's going to play primarily small forward, at least starting out games. You look at his numbers there, 20 points, 8 boards. His assist went up a little bit, good three-point shooter. The question is going to be, like you said, is he more suited as a small forward, as a power forward? Well, we're going to find out during this season.
Yeah, I like Tobias Harris, so I expect big things from him. But now coming in at number 4, a bit of a controversial one, because really he's been playing shooting guard his entire career. But when he returns next season, like when he is back, he will slide into that starting small forward position for the Golden State Warriors. It's Klay Thompson.
Yeah, and the reason there is obviously D'Angelo Russell is in the fold now. So the backcourt's going to be Curry, D'Lo, Klay Thompson listed as a guard, but it's going to slide in and play that small forward position. So unless something happens with the D'Lo trade, that could certainly change some things. And side note there too, that's why Draymond isn't on this list. He's listed as a power forward because he's going to play 4 primarily for the Golden State Warriors moving forward. And you guys are probably saying, oh, you didn't put KD on this list. Why is Klay on this list? Well, Klay's going to come back. He's expected to be back around the All-Star break, if not a little bit after.
Exactly. And when he comes back, players that come back from ACL injuries, there's usually not that big of a drop-off. And Klay Thompson's not a guy that, with the way he plays the game, I expect to see any kind of drop-off from him. That's why I'm keeping him in at number 4 here.
So this is what the starting 5 will look like in our opinions with Klay Thompson. What do you guys think it'll look like? Will Kevon Looney be in there? Maybe D'Lo becomes a super 6th man? I'll be curious to see how Steve Kerr kind of tinkers with his lineup once Klay Thompson returns. But we want to hear from you guys what the starting 5 will look like in Golden State when Klay Thompson is back in the mix. Top 3 here. Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets heading to Miami. He's got he's number 3 on your list, Jimmy.
Yeah, I kind of went back and forth with him and Klay Thompson, but because Jimmy Butler is going to be the go-to guy in Miami next year, we're going to see a little bit more out of him. I think he slides into that small forward position with maybe Winslow or Waiters at the 2 guard. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Butler because he can do everything on the defensive side of the ball, and he can do everything on the offensive side of the ball. And now, with Jimmy Butler being the go-to guy in Miami next year, the only question I have is that efficiency going to drop off at all?
Yeah.
Because he was the 3rd option in Philadelphia, sometimes the 4th, and now he is a number 1 option in a team fighting for a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference.
As crazy as it sounds, I still wonder if Miami shouldn't pursue a Chris Paul trade. Just that they need some backcourt help, I think. And, obviously that contract is a disaster. But if you're asking Jimmy Butler to be your do-it-all guy, I think that's a bit of a dangerous precedent. I like Jimmy Butler a lot, and I think having him number 3 makes some sense because he will have big numbers next year. I just wonder if him as your top guy makes a lot of sense.
And also you can see that the guy with my first name's higher on the list than the guy with your first name earlier here in Harrison Barnes.
I can't defend Harrison Barnes over Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy,
you win this one.
Greater than Harrison.
Classic hater Jimmy coming through right there. Top 2, LeBron James coming in at number 2. Probably know who number 1 is based on that, but we'll get to that in a second. LeBron coming in right here.
Yeah, look, okay, I get it. Everybody's going to be like, wait, but LeBron is playing point guard. Okay, you're not fooling anyone, LeBron James. You're not technically going to be listed as a point guard. The dude is a small forward. That's what he is. I mean, he's not small.
When you're 6'8", 265, you're going to be listed as a forward. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, you are a small forward. And, I have him number 2 because he is going to be coming off, I say the worst injury of his career. It's really
the only injury of his career.
It's the only injury. It wasn't really that big of a deal. It kept him out of a ton of games for sure. But in a quote-unquote down year, LeBron put up ridiculous numbers. I expect him to be, even more efficient than this.
I think no one's ever actually done 27.5, 8 and 8 in a season. I think, or very few people have, and everybody's like, oh man, LeBron, you can see him age. He had a monster season. The Lakers just weren't any good.
Right.
That is what happened this year. Obviously, after a year off, I think he will be ready to go. I think he's fired up to get going this season. I think he's going to watch this video and say, Jimmy, you know what? I'm going to prove why I belong number 1 on this list. But speaking of the Lakers, speaking of LeBron, where are they going to finish in the Western Conference? Are they the team to beat out West?
Not yet. I can't get comfortable putting them at 1. I'm leaning more to that 4 or 5 seed for the Los Angeles Lakers next season. If LeBron's even better than he was last year, they'll be 1 or 2, but I'm leaning 4 or 5.
So do you think they could be one of those teams that it takes a little bit while to get going, so their seed
Absolutely.
is 4 or 5, but they're still, outside of the Clippers, maybe the best team to make the finals out of the West. Is that what you're saying?
Playoff time, that is a team that I expect to be in the Western Conference Finals.
I could see that for sure. Speaking of the Clippers, number 1, you know who it is, Kawhi Leonard. The only thing he hasn't accomplished at this point of his career is winning a regular season MVP. Maybe this year is the year to do it.
Maybe it is. The only reason he wouldn't is because load management nights, and he just takes a few nights off, and it's not all about the regular season for Kawhi.
He's not an individual guy.
No, Kawhi's
all about winning.
Kawhi's playing for the postseason, and I think that's one of the reasons he's so high on this list is because he's so focused on the postseason and winning a championship. I mean, he's arguably the best wing defender in the league. And he's incredible on the offensive end as well. We saw what he did last year with Toronto, leading them to their first franchise championship. And, he wasn't playing in every single game. He didn't play in all 82 or anything like that. But when he did play, monster numbers here.
Yeah, 27, 7, and 3. Shoots well from the outside. You had the note there as well. Paul George not on this list because he's probably going to play stretch 4 for the Clippers primarily this year. So look forward to that when we go through our power forwards video. So don't freak out. We didn't forget about Paul George.
Yeah.
He is going to be a top 10 power forward when we do that video. But Kawhi Leonard coming in at number 1. I mentioned it earlier. Could he win MVP? Who will win MVP in 2020? I'm still leaning Giannis because he's the clear top option there. You almost wonder with the Clippers, do they have too much talent for Kawhi to put up the numbers? That's kind of what happened with Golden State the last few years.
Absolutely. Tom always says Steph Curry. He's obviously not here today. So I'm with you, Harrison. I'm going Giannis Antetokounmpo.
All right, guys, use hashtag NBA to get your questions on the show. That way, producer Dylan can filter those questions for you guys a little bit easier. Get those questions going on screen for you guys. Use hashtag NBA. That way, Jimmy and I can answer your questions. We already did some questions earlier. We'll do some more right now. We got Dre M54 leading us off here. Lowry to the Mavs for Powell, Wright, and a second. This is interesting.
Is it? I'm out if I'm Dallas because that's 2 young players
for an expiring, overpaid Kyle Lowry
that needs the ball in his hands, and who's going to have the ball in his hands? It's Luka Doncic. So
yeah, I mean, he's a good enough 3-point shooter where I think it's an okay fit. The problem is, I would say do it if you're a Kyle Lowry away from being a true contender.
Yeah.
But getting Kyle Lowry while shipping out DeLon Wright and Dwight Powell doesn't make you an elite contender in the West.
Plus, Kyle Lowry has 1 year left on his deal, so he's gone next summer.
Older player.
Powell is young and has now 4 years left. DeLon Wright is young and he has 4 years left. So I think the Mavs say no in this situation, Dre.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's go to Jade's. Golden State trades with the Heat. D'Lo for Jimmy Butler. The only way this happens is if we get to mid-season and Miami is like, man, we just overpaid for an olderish type player and we're not really a contender. And they're saying, hey, D'Lo could be a young guy we build around. And Golden State could say, hey, D'Lo doesn't really mesh with what we're doing with Steph Curry. Klay Thompson's coming back soon, but Jimmy Butler can fit in just about any system. That's the only way that happens. It definitely doesn't happen like right now by any means. That would be a mid-season type of trade there.
If it were to happen right now, I think Miami's the team that would say no in this scenario.
You really think so?
Oh, yeah.
What if they're like a 500 team? Jimmy Butler's older, and they're like, man, well, D'Lo's a lot younger. We could build around him. His contract isn't as bad. You don't think there's even a slight scenario there?
I think there is a slight scenario. I'm not saying it's like a hard no. I'm just saying, they have Dragic. I know he's not great right now. They have Dragic, and they like Justice Winslow at the point guard position. I know it's weird, but they like it a lot.
I'm not nearly as high on Winslow, but we'll see. I like that hypothetical, Jay.
Good idea.
Keep those ideas flowing in here. Mr. Cool123, again, use hashtag NBA so Dylan can filter those questions for you guys. Montrezl Harrell starts for the Clippers at power forward. I don't think so. I think the Clippers want to keep him and Lou Williams together off that bench. I think bringing Zubats back was able to plug him in at center, and you can play Kawhi and Paul George at the 2 forward spots. I think that is the ideal scenario. Now, your crunch time lineup, we've been over this a couple of times, Jimmy, throughout some past videos. We'll have Harrell and Lou Will in there, with Harrell probably playing the center position in that case.
Yeah, I would think so. I think if anything, the one that starts at power forward would be JaMychal Green.
Yes.
So Harrell can continue to come off the bench. Not because Green's the better player, but because Harrell's better suited off the bench. However, I fully expect Paul George to be your power forward for the Los Angeles Clippers starting next season.
All right, guys, we appreciate everybody watching live right now on YouTube. I want to ask you guys, how likely are you to recommend Chat Sports videos to a friend? Type 1 to 10. 10 is the highest. So if you type in 10, you're like, hell yeah, I'm recommending these videos all the time. By the way, while you're doing it, subscribe. Hit that red subscribe button, youtube.com/chatsportstv. We'll get some shout-outs going here. Type in 10 if you would recommend it. Oh, we got an 11 in there. That's always a good size.
We got a 1,000 in there.
Overachiever, 1,000.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Tyler Burbeck says 10.
10, 8, 7.
Mike says 5 till I get a shout-out. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Now you can go refer this to
Yeah,
a couple people.
we're watching. You wanted the shout-out, Mike. There it is. Can we get a 10 now? Let's see it in the chat. Still waiting on it, Mike. We got some 10s. Got 1 coming in. Okay, if you're typing in 1, we're not going to criticize. What can we do to make this stuff better?
Yeah,
we're open to suggestions, right?
Maybe he meant 10 and he just actually couldn't type the 0 at the end. I think that's
maybe
what
his keyboard doesn't have a 0.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
what's
broken.
going on. So keep those comments flying in. Type 10 if you would recommend us to someone else. We certainly appreciate you guys watching. Let's go back to Jive. Which team will be most surprising next season? You go first. I got a couple in mind.
Okay, so surprising on the good side of things, I have consistently said that my surprise team to make the playoffs next year could be the Atlanta Hawks. I think it's a stretch. I still expect them to be in the lottery, but I think I could definitely see them surprising some people. Another team I'll say is the New York Knicks, in all honesty, because they don't have like a bunch of firepower, but they have good talent enough that I think could push them into the playoffs.
I think the Pelicans have an outside shot. If they gel early, I could see them being a team that kind of catches teams off guard with how good they actually are. Obviously, a lot of things have to come together fast, but I think there's a chance that the Pelicans make a playoff push in Zion's rookie season. Obviously, a crowded Western Conference. Let's go to Cameron Millard. Beal to the Pacers, Bradley Beal, of course, for Malcolm Brogdon, Doug McDermott in a first. Note here, with the new signing of Brogdon, I think this would have to be a post-December 15th trade.
See, I'm not sure about the details on that because he went to Indiana
it was a sign-in trade. Okay, so I can't confirm that. I still think it would maybe have to be.
I think you might be right, but I'd have to check up on that.
This is an interesting one. I feel that's a bit of a high price. Brogdon and a first, plus McDermott, who can come off the bench for you.
I say Indiana says no in this situation.
I do too.
Because
if you take McDermott off of there, I could maybe get on board.
I still think they say no for Brogdon and a first because I think they want Brogdon to play that point guard position. And if you bring in Beal, you've got two guards. I know you can probably get Oladipo to play the point, but the fit is a little weird. However, it'd be hard to say no to Beal and Oladipo in the same backcourt.
Yeah, absolutely. Dutch Jones, what's the greatest 5 players of all time?
Michael Jordan, LeBron James. I'm just trying to go off the top of my head right now.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt, Kareem. Producer Brett says Bill Russell.
Not enough offense for me.
Magic, maybe Magic, maybe
Larry Bird, maybe.
Bird could be up there.
It's so tough in the NBA. Like you go to the NFL. Someone was asking me about like top quarterbacks recently. I feel like it's a little easier to do NFL. It's so tough in the NBA. Like the eras are so different. In my opinion, like the 3-point shot is just such a game changer.
It really is. And especially when we're not like sitting down typing this out over like an hour to prepare for it. It's just like name them.
I think for sure top 3: LeBron, Jordan, and either Wilt or Kareem. I mean, I think that's your top 4. Then plug in whoever at number 5.
Maybe Kobe could be up there eventually if.
Kobe's not. I think he's the most. He's an all-time great. He's the most overrated when it comes to these lists, though. I don't think he's top 15 all-time.
Harrison just called.
Hot take alert. I don't think Kobe's a top 15 all-time player. Let's go to Edwin Dawes. Wow. What changes the Suns have to make to get into the playoffs this year? Well,
a lot.
The focus for the Suns this year isn't the playoffs. It's you got to be more competitive. That they lose more games by 25+ points than anybody.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Look, I think what the Suns need to focus on is
development and competitiveness.
Develop Devin Booker. 2, develop DeAndre Ayton. 3, develop Cam Johnson, who you just drafted for some inexplicable reason. I love Cam Johnson, but you don't draft him at 11.
Your goal should be push for 30-ish wins and be competitive in 30 more games. Be competitive in 60 out of your 82 games.
Yeah,
look, they're going to get worked a lot of times. They don't have as much talent as these other teams, but you can't get rocked half your games. jerseys.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, that is just not a good look. I ask you guys this question: who has the best uniforms in the NBA? The last couple of years, some teams mixing things up. You got the, what are those new ones called that each team does? The
statement jerseys.
The statement
and
jerseys.
The City Edition jerseys.
City Editions, yeah. I like the Mavs. I like the Mavs Skyline ones, but they got rid of them.
They're going away?
I know, it's so disappointing.
They're
I really
bringing
like
in
those.
some kind of retro, apparently, but I've got an easy answer. It's the Vancouver Grizzly throwbacks that they're bringing in this year.
See, I like the Raptors throwbacks with the big dinosaur.
Yeah,
I think those are awesome.
But I'm going to go Vancouver.
If it take throwbacks out of it, like just generic. I like the Warriors color scheme. I like the lightish blue with the gold. I think they have really nice uniforms.
I like the Orlando Magic. I like the pinstripes that they do.
Jimmy, let's throw out the Washington Wizards is probably another one he likes out there too. Big Cleveland Cavaliers jersey fan.
Why are you hating?
No one cares about the Orlando Magic.
We're not asking if I care about them. We're asking if I like their jerseys. And the answer is yes, I like
their
jerseys.
They're never on TV. I don't know what their jerseys look like. Let's go back to the Dutch Jones. What's the top 10 centers? Well, Jimmy's going to do a video in the coming days.
I am going to do a video. You're
so
right.
we don't want to give away his list, but let's go all time here, perhaps.
Oh wow, that's even
Wilt,
tougher.
Kareem,
Bill Russell. Now you can throw Bill Russell in
Shaq.
there.
There's 4. We can get top 5 at least.
Does Anthony Davis get there eventually?
Oh my God!
Eventually, not
maybe,
yet, but
yeah.
eventually.
I think he's more considered a power forward when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Those are my top 4 for sure.
Trying to think of a good fifth. I know someone's going to be like, how could you have not said this guy?
Like, I'd say maybe Tim Duncan, but he was
he's
more
power
of a 4.
forward to me.
Yeah.
Oh, Hakeem the Dream.
There you go.
I'd put him
Hakeem Olajuwon. There's top 5 for you. We're not quite getting to top 10. We're doing this on the fly, Dutch. Sorry about that. Javeni, use hashtag NBA to get your question on the show. Best 5 Euro players of all time. I like these questions coming in today. We're digging deep here.
Yeah, we sure are.
Dirk, I think, is the best. For sure, the most influential European player of all time.
Dirk, Manu Ginobili's up there. When we just talk Euros, because I don't think, does Hakeem count as European? I think he's just...
He's international. If you want to go international, you got Hakeem.
Hakeem, Manu, Tony Parker.
I wouldn't have Parker Ginobili as high as those other guys.
Pau Gasol is up there.
Luka Doncic, of course.
Luka will be there. Giannis will be there.
See, 20 years from now, this will be a fun conversation because Dirk kind of paved the way. Yeah. There's so many now. And like the Mavs have 2 of them.
Like, I was going to say, could Porzingis be up there
Kristaps
eventually?
and Luka are 2 of the best Euro players playing right now. So I like that question. 10, 15 years from now, that's going to be stiff competition.
Also, quick editor's note here. Manu is not European because he's from Argentina.
He's South American.
That's on me, guys.
Shout out Jimmy. He hates the Spurs. It's okay. We'll let this one pass. Let's go back to Dre M54. Can KP dethrone AD? It's the best power forward. The problem is he needs to be healthier and more consistent, I would say. I won't say it's impossible, but Anthony Davis is such a good defender as well. I think that's a tall order, but they're similar players. I think he could get close.
I think he could get close. Also, I think AD plays more of that 5 role this year, which makes it the question. But I think he could because he can shoot, but defensively, and rebounding and health. I mean, those are 3 huge question marks. Obviously, Porzingis defends well when it comes to rim protection. But anyway, it'll be close. We'll see.
Yeah, let's go to Philip Ross. Who is your MVP favorite for next season? I got Giannis.
We both got Giannis.
Giannis is on a mission, I think. I think he was really shocked and disappointed the way that Eastern Conference Finals run ended. I think he's coming out. They may have the best record in the NBA next year playing that Eastern Conference schedule. They could push for 65 wins. Give me Giannis. I think he repeats.
I'm in full agreement here with Harrison. I'm going Giannis. If I had to pick someone else, I'd go Steph Curry.
All right, guys. It is hot as hell here in Dallas, Texas, where we are based. So what's your favorite season? I'm ready for fall. I love college football. Obviously, the NBA is late fall, early winter. That's when sports are the best. And me being a huge sports guy, give me fall. Football, you got basketball. You've got all kinds of stuff going on. You got playoff baseball, World Series baseball. Like October is like the best month of the year because you're in the middle of football season. NBA is starting. You got MLB playoffs. You got all kinds of stuff going on.
And it's my birthday.
So I love the fall. We're seeing some winters. We got autumn. That's also fall. I'm more of a fall guy. Are you an autumn guy or a fall guy? No,
I'm not. I say fall. Also, when it comes to weather, I'm a big fan of the heat. I'm going summer. But when it comes to like the sports and everything going on, I'm taking the fall.
You like this better than like when it's 82 in the fall? You'd rather it be 104.
I'd rather it be early summer. Anyway, next question from Cameron Millard coming in. Miles Turner, Defensive Player of the Year next year. I think it's interesting. I like Miles Turner a lot. Maybe he dethrones Rudy Gobert. in that. It's a good question coming up here. Maybe he dethrones Rudy Gobert for Defensive Player of the Year.
This is a good one to end on. Abdullah Muhammad, hashtag NBA to get your questions on the show. Are you guys matching? We kind of are. We kind of got up on set and we were like, well, we're kind of in a rush. We don't have time to change. The wardrobe room is way down the hall here at Chat Sports. We don't have time to get new shirts on. So we're like, you know what? Let's just do it, you know?
Yeah. Hey, it looks, I went with the nice buttoned-up professional look, and Harrison just threw on a quick T-shirt here.
Okay, Dylan's overachieving here. We actually have one more. Sorry about that, Abdullah. We thought we would end on that one. But we've got Ben Simmons in the chat.
Oh, shout out Ben Simmons.
How can we not answer a question from Ben Simmons? Biggest trade to happen this year. I think Bradley Beal is on a new team by the time the trade deadline gets here.
I agree, but I've got a bigger one for you, Harrison.
Okay.
Devin Booker gets traded this year.
Wow. Hot take, Jimmy. Devin Booker on the move. I think it's Bradley Beal. Comment below what you guys think. We're going to put this on loop for you guys, so stay tuned.